And please give a warm welcome to Szymon, as he will talk about Rosinite.
Okie dokie, 20 minutes. We will see how it goes. Before we start, is there anyone who has used Rosinite? Okay, one person, 2, 3. Okay, so you guys know what Rosinite is, but the majority of people there seem to not know what, well, Rosinite is. So I'm here today to basically describe what I built. Yeah, because the name is different. I know you saw the name as how I hacked React Native DevTools and built a plugin framework. And the topic was kind of submitted before Rosinite, so the result of my experiments with React Native DevTools went live. That's why it's now Rosinite, the missing part of React Native DevTools. And to not waste any more time, because it's already a minute, I will waste more time on talking about myself, because this is the best part. Okay, so I'm working at CallStack, no surprises there. I started my, let's say, career with web, and I'm a web developer at heart. I love web. But right now I'm working with React Native, with mobiles and different platforms, unusual platforms. Yeah, I work at CallStack Incubator. This is a team, let's say a special team inside CallStack, working on experiments, basically. Like, we have some idea, we want to pursue it and see how it goes. This is why I'm in CallStack Incubator, because I had an idea for Rosinite, and it went well. And I'm also part of Microsoft MVP program in web development. That's why I'm web developer by heart. And I'm coding from Toruń, Poland. Toruń, the city in northern Poland, known for gingerbread, for example, and for being a home of Nicolaus Copernicus. Okay, 2 minutes gone. Yeah, so now imagine you are driving your dream car. It can be BMW, it can be, I don't know, Audi, Porsche, whatever comes to your mind. Your pick? BMW, okay. I'm not sure about mine. I'm now driving Cupra Formentor, so let's say I'm driving my Cupra Formentor. And yeah, sun is shining, birds are singing, everything is great. We are having a great time. And then at some point we start to hear some noise coming from the engine. And this is always bad. Like, it's never a good thing to hear something, some sound coming from the engine, which is not usual. And yeah, so what do? We stop our vehicle to check what's going on. So we can pop the hood, we can look around, we can, I don't know, check if the oil pressure is good, I guess. I'm not a car guy, so I'm just thinking this, I'm coming with this randomly. I don't know, maybe some air pressure, some air filters, whatever. But without tools, without like some diagnostic scanners, you don't really know what's going on. You're just going there blindly, poking at different things. But if you go to a specialist, they will connect their scanner through OBD interface. They will see, oh, okay. So the car itself is able to tell me that this particular thing is wrong. So, okay, I need to change that and it will be just fine. So we as developers, we have basically the same job. We are writing our applications. So sometimes they break, usually they break. And then we need to find the reason and fix it. But the problem is that in React Native, in the past we had this Flipper tool. Somebody used Flipper? Raise your hand. Okay. So we know that Flipper could not only give us insights about JavaScript, but also about, for example, network activity, or for example, about Redux store. But, well, Flipper is now gone. And we have React Native DevTools. Yay. So we have something for it. Partially. Partially because we don't have, for example, Redux DevTools inside of React Native DevTools. We don't have Tanstack Query, for example, DevTools embedded. We don't have many, many, many different things there. And we are back at this. And this is not cool. I mean, it's okay for small application. But when the problem involves some cache, when it involves some persistence, then console logging is not fun anymore. And unfortunately, with React Native DevTools at this moment, we don't have any alternatives. Or do we? Because Rosanite is here to allow you to basically install plugins in your React Native DevTools and therefore be able to inspect Redux stores, Tanstack query state, basically, network activity, and so on, so on, so on. And I will go through the plugins in a minute, so we will be back to plugins in a second. And this is the slide I added, because this is basically the origin of the name. Because CallStack created this rock thing, rock framework. And the idea for the name was that, I don't remember the exact origin, but I know that we spoke internally about how to name libraries around rock. Okay, the name is rock. So we can call libraries with names of minerals. And this may work. So this is why I wanted to have some name like, okay, it must be a mineral. So we have a mineral, but it will be best to have like Polish mineral. Because, you know, I'm from Poland, so patriotic at heart. We need a mineral which is somehow related to Poland, and I found rosenite, which is basically a mineral found by, oh geez, I don't remember the name. Some Polish guy in Tatra Mountains. So this is you know, being super patriotic at heart. And I think this one is also some mineral, but to be honest, I'm not sure. But there are more coming, for example, harness thing, which is also something I'm building right now. It will be probably renamed to some other rock. Oh, crap, we have, I need to speed up a little bit. Yeah, rosenite. So last year, React Universe Conf, Alex Hunt is on stage giving a talk about React Native DevTools. And there's this slide saying that third-party plugins are in early exploration. But unfortunately, the time has passed. We have under a year and no plugins yet. So that's why rosenite is here, to fill this gap. It's not meant to kind of replace the official plugin support, but it's there to give us something to work with while we are still waiting for the official support. Cool, this is not a bug. This is expected. Because now I want to go through what rosenite exactly is. So I already told you that this is a framework for building and loading custom DevTools plugins. Cool. It also auto-discovers installed plugins. So the plugin in rosenite world is basically an npm package. You install this npm package. Usually you do a simple change in your code, and then voila, it works. And yeah, installing is super easy. Installing plugins is super easy. And technically, you just run React Native DevTools, and all the plugins are automatically there for you to use. It's built with TypeScript, React, and Type7 messaging. This is more important for plugin developers because rosenite is not only for users, like plugin users, but also for plugin developers. And again, we will talk a little bit more about it later. It comes with a set of popular plugins for popular tools. I already mentioned Redux. I already mentioned Tanstack Query. I think there is something, yeah, React Navigation plugin, which is super fresh one. And I think there's another one for, oh, yeah, this is the one, exactly. I have a trouble with pronouncing that for some reason. I don't know why. And it works with React Native CLI, with Expo, with Metro, with Repack, whatever you use, you can use rosenite. So how to start using it? Do I need to install some package? Do I need to change my code somehow? Do I need to configure Metro/Repack to use it? Technically, yes. But there's also this rosenite init command, which you can use, and it should basically, like in 90% of cases, it should modify your Metro config automatically. It should install all the packages required automatically, and starting from this point, you should be good. When you start your project and run React Native DevTools, you will see this awesome welcome screen saying that, oh yeah, rosenite works. And it will even prompt you to go to plugin directory to look for your plugins. 10 minutes, 8 plugins, and 20 slides left. Done-stack query, DevTools, everyone knows it works in Rosanite. You can inspect your queries, you can refetch them, trigger loading states, trigger error states, go through the cache. Pretty much everything you can do on web, you can do in Rosanite. Next one, Redux DevTools. A little bit limited because of the problem in the upstream library, but nevertheless, it can be used. It can you can inspect store. You can see all the values, or sorry, all the actions being dispatched. I guess pretty useful. Performance monitor, which is the name can be a little bit misleading because what it can do is it can observe the marks, measures, and metrics provided by the performance API. So if you use performance.mark, you will see it displayed right here. Like, no, my tongue is. 1 second. Okie dokie. So you can observe it in real time. You can export data if you want for the further analysis if you need. And this one is huge because we were missing it for a long time. And now with Rosanite and network activity, you can basically see, well, not only HTTP, but also WebSockets and server-side events. Again, we will see it in action in a minute. And last but not least, something from maybe some other group of plugins, because this one is basically my POC of using Node.js in Rosanite plugins. For those not knowing Expo Atlas, it's basically equivalent of Webpack Explorer or Webpack Bundle Analyzer. This is the name. You can basically go into your app and see what's included in it, in every module, why, what are the dependencies. And this requires a support from Metro, basically, a reconfiguration of it. So all the necessary data will be serialized in a form expected by this UI, and this UI needs to be loaded from somewhere, and this UI needs to communicate with Metro. So this is basically a POC of a working plugin for Rosanite with communication between Metro, app, and React Native DevTools UI. Okie dokie. How to install network activity plugin? Like I said, install package, a simple change in your app because you need to add a single hook in your app component, and then you can run Metro and open React Native DevTools as usual. And you can then use this glorious plugin. You can inspect headers. You can inspect responses. If it's a JSON response, you can go through the JSON tree and it's even interactable. You can look at request bodies, so at what you send to third-party API. And you can also inspect not only HTTP, but also WebSockets and server-side events. And of course, you can filter things. Okay, never mind. And of course, you can filter things by request names, for example, or domains. Okie dokie. I mentioned that Rosanite isn't only about using plugins, because there are many companies out there already using Rosanite to build their own internal plugins. And for example, their use cases are analytics. So one of the companies I spoke with uses Rosanite internally to basically provide event log of analytics events. So if they click on some button, there's some analytic event raised by the press, they can see it in Rosanite. Technically, you can use Rosanite to display state machines. Basically, let's say X state or something like that. So you have a state machine with states, different states, and transitions. So you can also use Rosanite to provide UI for such state machine. Caches, which is simple because we already spoke about React done-stack query. Yeah, exactly. So this is basically this case. Feature flags, because pretty much every app uses feature flags, so you can use Rosanite to display UI for those feature flags and interact with them, switch them, toggle them as you wish. Plus something like remote configuration. So if you fetch some configuration from something like Firebase config or whatever was the name of it, you can also see it in Rosanite if you build a plugin for yourself. And now the most interesting part. How does it work? Because, surprise, surprise, I'm not forking anything. There's no fork included. I'm using the React Native UI, React Native DevTools UI, shipped with React Native itself. Yeah. So how does it work? Well, we need to start with a simple fact. If you run React Native DevTools, you don't see it, but it's a browser. And there is a URL that's opened in this browser serving the UI. So basically, DevTools UI is a simple web app. And the source code is obviously available on GitHub. Plus, the same code is then bundled and published as React Native Debugger frontend. Next fact is that Metro serves this UI, so HTML files plus JavaScript files, to Chrome browser. Okay, so we have a place to act as a man in the middle, because Rosinite basically is such man in the middle, because it knows that Chrome is asking for something, and Metro is about to respond with certain files. So Rosinite can alter those files and inject some custom code. And this is basically how it works. Because if Chrome asks for index file, for HTML file, you know how HTML works. There are script tags. So Rosinite injects its own script tag inside this HTML, and therefore it loads internally in the UI. And starting from this point, it can reuse everything that's inside in the app. For example, it can reuse existing Chrome DevTools protocol, because that's how React Native DevTools communicate with React Native device. So in the nutshell, there is a WebSocket connection where CDP messages are coming back and forth. And this is meant to be as most, let's say, solid as possible. Because if you remember how it was back 2 years ago, the connection would basically broke every second, every minute, basically, because back then the communication was directly embedded into React Native application. Right now it's built a little bit different, but nevertheless, if Rosinite can inject itself into this connection and reuse it to pass messages back and forth, but this time for plugins, it means that if you open two React Native DevTools for two different devices, Rosinite will also work for two different devices, which is super cool. And when it comes to UI, I already said that it's built with React. So basically, every plugin you see is a React app working inside of an iframe. And the good thing is that if iframe fails, if plugin fails, it won't crash the UI. It will crash the iframe. So we don't risk anything happening to your DevTools. You don't risk not being able to use DevTools anymore after installing Rosinite. So again, good advantage of Rosinite. Minute. Okay, so how the process of creating Rosinite plugin looks like. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now, my colleague from CallStack posted this post on X saying that, oh, if you need something like this, so comparing designs with what you have installed in your app, let's say, or implemented in your app, you can use this image overlay plugin for React Atron, so let's say an alternative DevTools. And I was like, it looks so simple. I mean, there's only an image and a slider, and that's it. So we can use Rosinite to build it. Because the only thing I need to do is basically provide data about the image to be displayed. So I did. And now we'll go through the code in, 30 seconds. Once again, DevTools UI, built with React Native integration, built with TypeScript usually. And optionally, you can also provide some Metro integration. This is your plugin. Those three components bundled separately by vid. So in DevTools, you can use whatever you want. You can use, for example, Tailwind if you like. React Native integration can use TypeScript because it's also included in the let's say Rosanite framework for plugins, and the same goes with Metro. So then, you don't need to create anything from scratch. Again, we have a command, Rosanite generate. It will ask you for details about your plugin, name plus description. And then it will generate a whole project with the use of template we provided, or I provided. And starting from this point, you can start coding, basically. So, next thing we need to know is that you have a hook, use Rosanite DevTools client, which you can use to communicate between the UI and React Native. And again, in super short way of describing it, you see that I sent some kind of set grid message, and on the other side, in React Native, I listen for the same message, for the set grid message, which is then translated into some local state changes. And this is basically it. Because if this is UI and I can send messages from this part to React Native, and React Native can be basically a component, not only a hook, I can control whatever is displayed on the device. So if I build it, again with Rosanite build, because building by hand is not fun at all, it will build everything. It will build HTML files for UI. It will build React Native entry point. And then you will see this. So you can show grid on your device, you can control it with sliders, you can change colors. And on the right side, you see that I can show an overlay with the image provided. And if I go to the device, I can control it. Created in less than 2 hours, completely for free. The alternative is paid. Yep, it works just like that. So it's super simple. And now the question is, what does the community think of Rosanite? It depends. I mean, both quotes are great, but this quote is coming from a team leader. So with a team of 25 developers and over 1 million users, blah, blah, blah. A huge boost to our development speed and debugging process. The flexibility to add our own custom tools makes it even more powerful and tailored to our needs. And on the other side, somebody reached out to me that, oh, I wanted to say thank you because you built super good framework, which is super easy to use. And I was exploring it, and by accident, I ended up with building a plugin for async storage. So, yep, it's super easy to get started. And if you want to get started, there is a QR code to rosanite.dev website where you can find the documentation, basically all the steps I described. You can find GitHub repository, you can find NPM packages you need to install. So basically everything is there. And that's pretty much it. I would love to go into more details about exactly how injection works and what kind of hacks, because I see the questions. What kind of hacks they are inside, and I would love to do it, and I will do it. I will be there somewhere. So if you are interested in exactly how it works, I will be there to answer your questions, basically. So yeah, this is Rosanite framework for building and loading custom DevTools plugins. It's easy to install and use, and if you install any plugin, it will be auto-discovered and installed. It's built with TypeScript, React, and TypeScript messaging. It comes with a set of official plugins for popular use cases, and it works with React Native, Expo, Metro, Repack, whatever comes to your mind. And that's it. Thank you.
So thank you very much. We have some questions.
This is fun, because this is basically my idea from a month ago. So Rosanite currently works through...
Can you please read the question?
For the audience
yes,
outside
please.
of the building, let's say. Could you write a plugin to communicate with native modules, inspecting native actions, events, state, etc.? Right now, there is no direct communication layer between Rosanite and native. I mean, it's achievable because you can go through JavaScript, basically pass information from native module to JavaScript and from JavaScript to the DevTools UI. So it will work. It will not be the best option for, I guess, events that are being emitted really frequently, like 1,000 times per second, for example, but it will work. In the future, there is a plan to create a native module, native SDK, to basically cut this dependency on JavaScript thread and go straight to DevTools UI, but it's not done yet. Can you go down, or we are going with only because I think there are 8 questions, right? The number 8. Okay, so the second question was, is it legal? It is. I mean, I'm not doing anything wrong, I guess. People using it are not doing anything wrong on their side. They're just installing something existing. But yeah, I mean, the plugins are stripped from the production code. So you are not shipping anything with your app in production mode. So from the perspective of like apps that need to be super secure, it should be transparent. Like having plugins, not having plugins, the same thing, because they are stripped from the production build. Yeah, and to sum up the hacky thing, it is hacky at this point, but the alternative would be to fork the whole DevTools UI, to manage all the patches, to synchronize with React Native DevTools UI repository. And to be honest, having to do that every release of React Native by myself and fixing all the patches I applied on my side, it's not doable at all. So I had to make it somehow easier, and this way it's really easy. And I think one more, or that's it. We have time. Okay. What does the hook do? I guess this is about the plugin bridge hook. So the plugin bridge. Technically, I could do this, I guess, or not. No, it won't work. Yeah, so plugin bridge. CDP. There is the CDP messaging protocol installed in React Native. I don't want to answer this question right now. You know why? Because it would be way easier to display just the code there and go through the code. And I don't want to provide an answer just describing it all, because it's not that easy to grasp.
Who asked the question can come
Is
to
there?
you later.
Okay.
Sure. Seriously? Dennis, I see you.
Voila. Okie dokie, plugin bridge. We are using the screen, or is it? I think we're losing the screen. Okie dokie. So on the device side, you need to know that there's this special global coming straight from React Native code. So the way how it works is basically when Chrome UI connects to React Native, it sets something called binding. So the React Native code can invoke this binding, passing message back to React Native DevTools UI. So this is basically the way of communicating back, but at the same time, oh yeah, and there is this this thing called domain, which is basically, for example, in CDP you have network domain, runtime domain, which is basically a prefix in all the comments you send through CDP. So in our case, it's Rosanite. Yeah, and if you want to send something back, there is send message the send message method on the domain coming from the React Native. On the other side, on the browser side, panel need to send a message through message channel protocol, I guess this is the name of it, via post message. So iframe can communicate back to the UI, and then UI can pass a message back to React Native through the same communication layer as React Native UI, because just to go there really quickly. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not sure if I will find it. Probably not. Oh, there is it. Send message through this binding, which is basically a function exposed on the React Native side, which is initialized somewhere there. That's exactly why I didn't want to describe it, because it's not that. Oh, there's it. Like basically, it's sending a CDP command saying, "Okay, React Native, you need to evaluate this expression," and your message is basically there as a JSON string. So it goes through WebSocket, then it gets evaluated, basically evaled as a JavaScript code, and that's how you end up with a message on the other side. Yep. Not hacky at all. I mean, to be honest, this code is coming from React Native DevTools. This is not something I came up with. This is basically what they did, and I just made it possible to send additional messages. So, yeah.
I think you can ask more questions if you're interested in anything after.
I mean, I will be around, so I'm not going anywhere. You can.
Yes, he will be happy to answer. So once again, thank you. And give a shout out to Szymon for a great and heavy technical talk. And